we want to take a rate. I mean, for people watching in other parts of the country, the temperature is not much clearer today in Minnesota. So they're out there in the element. That shows the passion, right?
Absolutely.
Marilyn Cummings is going to join us now, and it's really interesting. Carolyn was with us early this morning when this first broke. Her first questions in the newsroom was the BCA state police allow the investigation? Got a lot of those questions answered. Caroline, a lot of information came out of the press conference.
Yeah, that's right. We just heard from Superintendent Drew Evans of the BCA, and he described what the BCA had posted earlier, which is that the BCA arrived at the scene and were told by DHS that they were not allowed to access that scene. But the new information that we just learned from the press conference was that they go to the scene, they're denied access to the scene, this is according to Superintendent Evans. Then they get a judicial warrant, like a judge finding probable cause that they have to access that scene. They go again, and they are denied again. And just for some context here, you know, never say never. There's a long history in the state, but it's definitely fair to say taking such a step, seeking a warrant to access a scene in a public place in this city is pretty rare. So we learned that new information, and that's what's next. Evan said they're still going forward with investigation. It's a little bit of a departure from what they said post Renee Good shooting, which you may as recall that the state was denied access to that scene at that time. And BCA said, you know, we're not going to have enough evidence to do a proper, fair, and full investigation here. So they're going forward, but he did say he'd be remiss if he didn't mention it's not going to be easy to do an investigation unless he gets full cooperation with feds on this. We do have some of what he said here. We'll play it now.
This morning, I was in contact with the police department after the incident that you're all familiar with now. They requested our force investigations unit on the scene and conduct such an independent investigation as we have in other recent incidents in the city of Minneapolis. What occurred was our team responded to the scene, and I was in contact with federal authorities to inform them that was going to occur and that we were responding to the scene in Minneapolis. When our team arrived, they were blocked by federal agents with the Department of Homeland Security from accessing the scene. We worked with them and we're in contact with the FBI, trying to attempt to access the scene so we can gather evidence to understand what occurred and work through this process. Our team also secured a search warrant for the scene, which is an unusual move in a public area like that. But we did that attempting to have judicial approval to enter the scene to gather evidence. We were again backed by federal authorities to go in and do that scene examination. We have a long history of working side by side with the Federal Bureau of Investigation on all types of cases. It's true in other high-profile incidents that you've seen in officer-involved shootings, and that remains the case we do and will be going forward. They're excellent partners to us as an organization. Unfortunately, and other outside of the state making decisions that does not occur. So we will continue to investigate this case and others that we have recently been involved in, but I would be remiss if I didn't state that it will be difficult to obtain all of the evidence and information obtained without cooperation. It was my understanding at this time that this case is now being led by the Department of Homeland Security Investigations as an investigation into this matter, and not the FBI leading at this point in time.
So you heard there from Superintendent Drew Evans kind of laying land of what happened today, arriving to the scene, being told they could not. This is the BCA agents then coming back with warrants, still being told that they could not access the scene. And of course, as I mentioned, pretty rare to see such a warrant at all to access this scene. But you emphasize the long-standing collaboration between state authorities and federal authorities come to investigations. Evans also spoke about how any incident involving an officer firing a gun, an officer-involved shooting, is a very complex case, and that's why you hear him emphasize the importance of getting access to all the evidence in order to do an investigation. But they are going forward with an investigation at this time. But again, they have been denied access to the scene so far, at least in to collect that evidence. So we will continue to monitor and see if we get any updates from them about to what extent they are allowed to access that evidence. You from the governor and the Department of Public Safety Chief Bob Jacobson, and now emphasizing that they would like to be part of that investigation. I'm going to send it back to you guys. I just lost you, so I hope you can still hear me, but I'll send it back to you guys there at
Can you hear us? Can you hear us or no? Oh, that's a shame. Okay. It's admirable that they move forward doing it, but he said, it's going to be complicated, but there was a question that was after, and he said, our investigation will be compromised. So, you just, you appreciate the fact they're trying. At the end of the day, what will they have? And those are questions we'll ask, and how would it be? How compromised? To hear an investigator say our investigation will be compromised doesn't give you a lot of faith that they can do kind of investigation.
Literally said, quote, we did no work at the scene.
Yeah. He said the investigation will be compromised. That's his quote.
And let's be clear, he pointed out that previously, federal government has been an excellent partner in the investigations that they work collaboratively on, and saying, we need to find some effort. Someone needs to do something. This standoff is now happening between federal entities and state entities.
Yeah. That being said, too, we'll ask but maybe if they get enough citizen video, maybe if they get enough eyewitness testimony, maybe they can piece something together. But to your point, that's a great question. I hope it goes to Chris. He's supposed to be keen at 4 o'clock from the nation's capital or where she is, but at 4 we're supposed to hear from her. The other unusual thing is that Try Senator Smith and Senator Klobuchar are locally at 4 o'clock. So we're going to try to figure out how to make that happen. You record one and play one back. But, that's a question right to the federal government is, why can't we be part of it? We've always been part of it. Is it a new system? How do we move forward?
If there is, can you lay that out so everyone can understand it, especially when the head of this in the state of Minnesota isn't getting answers or is confused about what changed? And
and I would point out, yesterday in our 10 o'clock news, our lead story was another DOJ attorney from the attorney office, so has quit. Because she supposedly, according to this, gets
check. So, yes, it's going down in my city, man. It's going.
push you back. They're going to push you back at a distance so they can do their job. Of course, they'll let you film and document at a distance. You don't have to be 100 miles away. Might push you back maybe 10 feet, 20 feet. But these people here literally hunt down Border Patrol and ICE all day long, 24/7, 365. They get their cameras, they follow them, they yell all types of obscenities, throw things at them. You can't do that to any law enforcement. If you do, you're asking for trouble. You just, a reminder.
Yeah, I mean, kicking law enforcement, fighting back, telling them they're Nazis, and it's only going to make things worse when you fight back. Now, the man today that got shot, I don't know if he was yelling at the ICE agents and telling them that he had a gun on him and he's going to use his rights and unalive the ICE agents. So they tried to detain the gun from him. And from the video footage that I've seen,
you don't want to mess with people with guns either.
You don't want to mess with people with guns.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Loony.
Minnesota National Guard being forced to dress like crossing guards. That's another thing too. The National Guard, if they're out on the streets, they're going to be in these yellow vests.
The yellow vests.
Oh, that's the right word too. They're going to be in the yellow vests. So guys, keep your comments coming. So many of them. Dumpster fires. We're going to listen to the senator, U.S. Senator and official speak again in another press conference coming up. And we'll continue to monitor. I'm going to turn the volume back up. This is BG on the scene out there. And I like this type of reporting here because you just go around, you just show the crowd, show what's going on. Now, when there's some crazy moment, you document. The person that does the stream here doesn't even speak. Just goes around and just films. And let you decide what's going on. What let you decide.
Fire pits right here. So the smoke you're seeing is not anything from chemical irritants. We actually haven't seen chemical irritants for a while. Earlier, probably it's been time at this rate, guys, not sure, but maybe I want to say 2 to 3 hours ago is when all authority kind of left the area and left it up to community members who we can see right now here. We've spoken with many that have traveled from near and far. That man up there, as I mentioned, said that he has been wanting to come out here, and it's a Saturday. So he said that he's been working, which has not given him the ability to come out to the Minneapolis streets all throughout Operation Metro Surge and protest against the federal agency. But now that it's a Saturday and he's off, is giving him the ability to do so. Let's walk kind of from here while watching this fire, right? To kind of give you the point of view from the whole memorial. Cross right there on the side. People have been chanting different passionate phrases. Over here, right there. And this is exactly how it's changing. You've got that one man over there kind of giving his words. Now this woman right here with signs that say stop killing and abducting. And everybody's just kind of coming together and taking turns here right now. There are folks right here smack dab on the ground, but also up on the roofs as well. And everybody's been kind of talking about where the scenario south of 26, and we're on Nicollet right now. There's Lambdall Donuts. Throughout this, he's been going back and forth thinking about if she should be out on the street or not. And today was that kind of tip of the iceberg, he said, on why he should come out here. And this is probably the most common phrase we have heard all throughout. Why don't you show them right there, Ray? It's just simply ice out. You see that on signs. You see people chanting it right there. And there is some profanity as people are very upset. While I describe kind of the air right now, I would say it has changed all throughout the day. When we first got here, very intense standoff with federal agents and state patrol. We didn't see Minneapolis police earlier in the day. They were kind of staging like from afar to kind of secure this whole entire neighborhood vicinity. We're in the Whittier neighborhood. If you're tuning in from outside of the city, outside of the state, outside of the country even, we are aware the spotlight is on Minneapolis and has been just for a while. We're right south of downtown. This area is called Eat Street, a very large cultural hub filled with a lot of different restaurants that are special to the people of Minnesota. So we now have a site right here where Alex died. We have a site where George Floyd died, and then we also know where Renee died as well. And so you're having all of these memorial sites across our city that are setting up, and I'm unsure of what those scenes look like right now today, but obviously this is what is unfolding today. Guys, let me know if there's anything else I can clarify for you while we're here on the ground.
One question right now, are you noticing a continued presence of helicopters circling overhead to sort of keep an eye on the location from afar?
So that's funny you say that, because right as you asked that, Derek, no, I don't see any choppers. I actually do see a drone right up there now that I'm looking up. We did hear choppers earlier. The only enforcement I have witnessed is Minneapolis police from afar. So it seems like right now we're on Nicollet. So right down here is 27th. I'm looking north right now at 26th. So I want to say Minneapolis police is even at 25th and further, and that's 27th. I know last time I was over there, they were at 29th of some sort. So they're just kind of like barricading this whole area to make sure vehicles don't come through the area. And as you can imagine, we know they're watching just to make sure everything stays safe and peaceful is an adjective I would use to describe the environment right now.
All right, Frankie McLister, we'll check in with you again in just a few minutes. Want to make a couple small notes. Due to concern for the community, safety of the community, we've had a couple of postponements and closures today. About 2 hours ago, the NBA announcing that the Minnesota Timberwolves game today at the Target Center has been postponed until 4:30 tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. And then just a few minutes ago, we learned that the Minneapolis Institute of Art, MIA, was actually going to close early out of concern for the community.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, what's going on there? NBA game postponed because of this?
NBA game.
Yeah, they're really close to that scene, and that scene is going to be where there's going to be a vigil tonight at 7 o'clock in memory of Alex Priddy. We are getting a little bit more information about him. We've been showing you these photos today. We told you that he is an ICU nurse at the Veterans Hospital. We're getting a quote now, expected. Some of you watching right now probably know Alex. We're hearing from someone who does know Alex. And we got this quote from a neighbor saying, he was a great guy and neighbor, very kind, would always be willing to help others.
Now, I just want to point out, and I will go back here a minute. Remember the nurses Remember those Minneapolis nurses that held that press conference a couple days ago? Apparently this guy here that got shot was an ICU nurse. The press conference, all the nurses, the medical people just calling out ICE and saying ICE out and everything like that. We played that press conference. See this rhetoric stuff really here. So there's multiple angles to this situation here. We show up for our communities and we fight back. We have been getting gas off of these streets all morning. We have been getting shots all morning, and look at this. We showed up. It is not the time to bow down. It is not the time to behave. It is not the time to comply. Hey, playing out there. Alex Petty was shot this morning by ICE. Renee Nicole Good was shot 2 weeks ago by ICE. Keith Porter Jr. was shot 2 weeks ago by ICE. And black and brown people have been screaming about these problems for years. They are apparently claiming that there was a weapon on him that was taken after the fact. Oh, yeah. So he had a weapon on him. Connecticut County sheriffs to other locations throughout Minneapolis, maybe even to here. But there's no police here. None at all. That's crazy work.
Around here that are open, kind of staying open as warming spaces for people, passing out hand warmers and bottles of water, and offering a space to go to the bathroom. So there has been some time switching around this area as well as kind of folks have come together and rallied here, voicing those same opinions as one group here. But it's hard to tell, like I said, the size of the group. You got other buildings around here, so we can't see around corners. But as some people leave, some people come in. It's all stayed roughly the same here. As folks come back here to the rally at 26 Nicollet.
All right. Well, compared to earlier this morning, status quo is good news out there. Ian, appreciate your reporting out there. Let us know if anything changes. Always good to see our reporters not having to put their gas masks out there for their safety and for the safety of everybody else that is down there as well. If you're just joining us, we
conference? Have you asked about that, or do you know who's going to go or what's going to happen?
Well, that you're absolutely right, Frank. I mean, there's normally complete discussions beforehand. If there's something at the local level involving federal officials, yes, they coordinate their press conferences. It's not clear that they have. I do think it's important to note that these people do know each other. Governor Walz and Secretary Noem were governors together. Certainly, Senator Klobuchar knows Governor Noem. I think, you have to wonder if there hasn't been some kind of dialogue or an attempt to have dialogue. It sounds like all attempts to share, though, have been completely blocked. Drew Evans, the head of the BCA, saying not only were his agents turned back when they tried to go get into the scene, but then they came back with a warrant and they still weren't allowed to be on the scene. The scene being a street, a public street, but a busy street, I might add, in Minneapolis. So right now, I think, Frank, your observation that things seem to be further apart than they have been in terms of these two entities working together or even communicating, I think is spot on. Maybe we will get a different message here at this 4 o'clock news conference. We'll see.
Yeah, but we're really curious to hear that, Esme. Not only just from
It's 2 press conferences. One, U.S. Senator in Minnesota, they're there at this location, and then Kristi Noem, DHS, at another location. So we don't know who's going out first. That's what they're saying. So two press conferences. We'll just stay with this one here because I want to see what happens here.
Based observation is falling along party lines for the most part.
I think actually this I think initially it might have been along party line support for the operation. But CBS News had a poll saying while the majority of Americans supported President Trump's deportation policies, over 60% said that they were opposed to what ICE tactics are happening on the ground here. So I think that's very important. And I also think that this is permeated well beyond to Minneapolis, which is obviously known as a Democratic and very liberal stronghold. It's also gotten into the suburbs. I think you saw, 15,000, maybe 20,000 people marching in the streets of Minneapolis yesterday. There were people there from the suburbs as well. And this has also hit the suburbs. There have been these arrests in Bloomington, in suburbs all around the metro. So I think it's further, and I think what's happening, according to that CBS poll, is that while there's support for deportation of illegal immigrants, that poll showed very strong, I think it was 63% of people responding said that they did think that ISIS tactics were, out of hand. However, if you broke that 63%, the percentage of Democrats, I think, was at 94% who thought that their tactics were out of hand, and only about 14% of Republicans. So I guess in some ways, yes, it is still divided, but the division continues, and we're going to see if there's anything that can possibly bridge this divide. Very interesting to hear from, especially Senator Klobuchar, who really has made a career out of talking about working with both sides and bridging the gap and bridging the great divide. It will be very interesting to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, we should also know, too, I think most people know, but for those who don't, tuning in across the nation, she was a Hennepin County prosecutor here for many, many years.
Which is the Minneapolis County. Yeah. So this was her beat.
Yeah. Esme, I don't know what only shows that I'm struck by an interview we did many, many hours ago where a guy we spoke to at the site of the shooting said, hey, I don't mind rounding up people that are committing crimes and doing the wrong thing in this country. For him, this had morphed into a Second and Fourth Amendment issue. Just because of, again, the strangeness of who does an investigation, how is it done, why aren't certain things done? This guy, it was an elevated level of now you're going into constitutional issues.
Well, and another constitutional issue is the 10th Amendment, and that is the 10th Amendment and the First Amendment are the amendments that Attorney General Keith Ellison and the mayors of St. Paul and Minneapolis have filed a lawsuit. There's a hearing at 9 a.m. in federal court on this lawsuit that was filed last week. The 10th Amendment basically states that states have their own sovereignty, that anything that's not explicitly in the Constitution that says the Constitution delegates everything to the president, anything else that's left over is the state's business. And that's something that all these state officials are arguing as well. Yes, it is at the essence of the constitutional, and some constitutional legal experts we say at this point, this actually appears to be very close to a constitutional crisis.
Yeah, and then you think of that, and then you think of 2 weeks ago, the president brought up the using the Insurrection Act. He backed off of that a few days later, but that could still be out.
He actually brought it up again today as a possibility in one of his True Social posts.
All right, so let me switch the feed over here and get you the it looks like Christine Noem is going to be speaking at the FEMA headquarters. FEMA headquarters here. Because I think she's probably there because of the storm. But we'll keep it here. But she's supposed to come on like any minute here. So we'll man, I messed up. Hold on, time out. I've got to go back. Go back. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. National Guard.
Agents are here, and there are 600 officers in the Minneapolis
National Guard.
Police Department. We've talked to some of them.
What's the National Guard?
Turn it off. Look, that's National Guard. They're there. The National Guard.
Hey, the National Guard's here. What that mean?
Building. Holy smokes, National Guard has come in. Look at that. Look at that, folks.
What does that mean?
National Guard. Oh boy, oh boy. This is the Minnesota National Guard.
It's the Minnesota National Guard.
Minnesota National Guard.
I think I'll go against ICE, would they?
Interesting. Oh, I got a glimpse. So she was like, left the feed. I'm like, oh my God.
Send in the National Guard.
The National Guard coming in. I'll try to find more information about that.
Yes.
I think they're going to assist the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office.
Are they going to help assist it, or it's getting really, really crazy, folks, here in Minnesota, and negative temperatures. Go ahead, hit the like button. Hope you subscribe. And the National Guard's here. I hope they're going to here to help assist the ICE agents. And I'm so close to everything. It's crazy. Y'all, hit the like button, subscribe. Candy.